Welcome.
Bienvenidos, bienvenidas.
Willkommen.
Ahla wa sahla to breakfast together.
Günaydin, hello, and welcome to another episode of our series where we interview language lovers, polyglots, and in general interesting people.
Buenos dias, breakfast together listeners.
Today we're thrilled to welcome the Taiwanese polyglot activist, the founder of Polyglot.tw and Polyglot Immersion. He is a published writer, immersion program designer, entrepreneur, dedicated language revitalization advocate, and cat rescuer gamer who's learned over 50 languages by immersing himself with the speakers around the world.
50 languages, Asa. Wow, that's amazing. Another thing about our today's guest is that he is a co-host of the Polyglot Conference 2025 in Taipei. With that being said, please welcome Terry Hsieh.
Hello. Günaydin. And
Günaydin, Terry. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So last thing first, I'm helping and assisting our best friend, Richard Sincott, organize this year's Polyglot Conference in Taiwan. And in my native city, Taipei. So
wow.
Now you know where it's going to take place. So it's time to buy your tickets and flight tickets. Okay.
Terry, we definitely want to know more about the Polyglot Conference. We do have a couple of questions because this is a super exciting event for so many language lovers. And it's coming up in 3 months, right?
Right.
In 3 months. So it's not that much of a time. But before we discuss all of this, can you please tell us your story? Because we are really thrilled to know about you. How did you get into languages and so on?
So I basically grew up monolingually. If you don't consider my second and third languages that are not complete. So I was born in Taiwan in the 80s. My parents are actually Hakka people. Many of you probably are not aware of this. Like all the languages in Asia, especially these Sinitic Chinese languages, are not mutually intelligible. So don't treat them as dialects. Mm-hmm. They are as different as Swedish and French. Okay. So my parents, they are Hakka speakers. But I didn't grow up speaking Hakka because I didn't like it. And I only spoke the official language at the time in Taiwan, which is Mandarin. But I somehow picked up Taiwanese because I had a Taiwanese speaking babysitter for about 3 years. So, but still, my Taiwanese is not complete. It's not my native language. I can speak it semi-fluently. So anyway, I grew up basically monolingually with Mandarin. When I was 12, I started to learn English as other kids did at the time. Wasn't really interested in it until I started to play online games, the so-called MMO, massive multiplayer online games. And then I had to use English. And that's how I got English.
I've heard that this was a story for many people. Actually, many polyglots started off like that by a video game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with online games, it's kind of different because you really have to do real transactions with other players. Yeah, you have to communicate. And I'm proud to be the first generation of online game player because I was born in the 80s, and the online gaming didn't start until the 90s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. You're the first pioneer.
Yeah, but then still I wasn't really interested in languages. I was just thinking, I had to use English. Okay, then that's it. And then later I shifted my gaming focus to Japanese games. So I started to learn Japanese. Learning Japanese is not hard for Taiwanese at all. I mean, not because it's an easy language. We were a Japanese colony for 50 years. My grandma only spoke Japanese and Hakka. And also we have all these like legacies from the Japanese period. And the whole environment is also very encouraging. Yeah, I think almost like every Taiwanese at least knows 20 words or phrases in Japanese. So learning Japanese wasn't like really a big deal. It's still what's still very hard, but yeah. And then when I was in college, I met two polyglot professors. They were
Yeah.
from the United States and Italy, respectively.
Were you as a student in Taipei?
Yeah, I studied at the National Taiwan University, and I met these foreign professors at our university. And that
Yeah.
was the first time I saw someone who spoke 10x languages.
Wow.
Because in a way, my parents are polyglot too, but just many people don't consider them due to the lack of understanding of how Sinitic languages work. My parents speak perfect Taiwanese, Hakka, and Mandarin. And that's
Right.
already three languages. But things I didn't have that awareness. So I didn't consider them to be polyglots. But anyway, I met these 10x language people, professors at the university, and they inspired me to become a polyglot. Basically, that was the story.
Wow. A lot of role models seems like. So,
Yeah,
and was it an influence to immediately start some other language rather than English and so on?
yeah.
Because I presume.
Yeah. So I think I remember I first started to learn French, like seriously, after meeting the Italian professor and the American professor. And also at the same time, I tried to explore other languages. At the time, I was focusing on European languages, so
Yeah.
Portuguese, Spanish, and all these. And then I decided to go abroad to study in France. So for that, I had to, study this language like really
Prepare.
seriously, not just prepare, because that school, that particular school, required all the students, foreign students, to be already fluent in French. And I don't know
Wow.
if you know this school. I actually went to École Polytechnique. If you ask any French person about this school, they know this school.
I see.
Yeah, yeah, and so that was actually very demanding. Yeah,
I mean, I can imagine studying in a French school. Everything
yeah,
connected to French sounds demanding to me, if I'm honest.
yeah.
But for personally, to me, the interesting part in your linguistic background is your interest for the indigenous languages, and this is also where Terry and I connected because some of
Yeah.
you might know I speak
Uh-huh.
Sami, Northern Sami to be more precise, which is an indigenous language here in Norway. And Terry speaks some languages from Latin America, such as Kichwa and Maya.
Uh-huh.
Am I right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my journey or indigenous journey began actually 10 years later, 10 years after I decided to become a polyglot. So in college, I actually studied biology, or more precisely, biochemistry, genetic engineering, all those, biotech stuff. And I did the
Wow.
same in France, actually. But before I graduated, I decided that lab life, working in a laboratory is not for me. I was very good at theory crafting and studying all those scientific stuff, but I wasn't a very good scientist. So then I changed my career to linguistics. Then I applied to a few universities in the United States, and I got into the University of Kansas with a fellowship, which means that I didn't have to pay for anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
You were very good then. You are, seems like.
yeah,
Because fellowship is not given to everyone.
no, it's actually I was very lucky because without that I was not financially able to really study in a U.S. university. So anyway, during the summer, I mean, right before the summer of my first year at KU, the University of Kansas, my syntax professor wrote me an email and said, "Do you want to go to the jungle or Machu Picchu to learn a language called Kichwa?" "Oh, Kichwa." And I said, "Why not? If you pay me to go there." Yeah,
Who wouldn't? Why not?
yeah. Why not?
That's the
Yeah,
attitude.
and Dr. Torrance, he said, "Yeah, you are the only one in the department who learns real languages." So I don't know if you know this. Actually, nowadays, linguists, most of them are not really dealing with languages themselves. They are more into how the brain processes languages. So you don't have to know any languages to be a good linguist.
Oh,
So at the time, I was the only one in the department who was eager to learn many languages. And Dr. Torrance knew that, so that's why he wrote me. And he sent me to Ecuador into the jungle and with substantial funding.
When was it, Terry? What was the
That
timing?
that was 2011, 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah,
And
that
how
was
did
my
that journey change you, or how did it influence you? How did it
yeah.
go?
So that was my first experience learning an indigenous language, and plus, I was not learning like a major type of Quechua. As you
mm-hmm.
know, Quechua is not a language; it's a family of languages, pretty much like Sinitic languages. You have Hakka, Taiwanese, and Mandarin, and in the world of Quechua, you have Cusco Quechua, you have Bolivian Quechua, and Ecuadorian Quechua, and the Jungle Quechua. So my type of Quechua, it's the real name is Quechua, not Quechua, because
Mm-hmm.
in Ecuadorian Quechua, you actually have only 3 vowels. So it's
Oh
like
wow.
Quechua. But in Cusco Quechua, you have 5 vowels. So that's why you have Quechua. But okay, this is getting nerdy, but phonologically,
We like nerdy.
No, yeah, it's interesting. We love it.
both languages only have 3 vowels. You have Quechua in Quechua because of vowel lowering and blah 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 blah. Anyway, okay, that was the nerdy part. So I was in the jungle of Ecuador without any real materials to learn a language. Usually, when we want to study a modern language or like major languages, you have textbooks, YouTube channels, grammars, and a good teacher. But the type of Kichwa, it's called Napo Kichwa or Tena Kichwa, didn't have any textbook. The only thing we had was a kind of a broken manuscript from our leading professor, Dr. Swanson, in the jungle. So basically, you are facing the situation that you have nothing to study with. The only thing that helps you learn the language is the people there. You can hang out with them all the time. They are fine with you because they are basically the family members of the professor.
Wow.
Dr. Swanson has a very interesting life. His wife is from the region, doesn't speak any English, only Spanish and the Kichwa. So the whole community treats him as a family
Wow.
member. So since we are all his students, so we are also family members. So we could have
Aw,
like millions of access to the native speakers. Like they
wow.
would always talk to us if we want to talk to them.
That's
So
amazing. Like you were in a perfect linguistic setting, it
yeah,
couldn't be any
yeah,
better. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
like I listened to your talk at the Polyglot
Mm,
Gathering
mm,
2025 in Brno.
mm, yeah,
And it really fascinated me. First of all, it was a multilingual talk because you
mm,
spoke in Spanish and Japanese and English, of course, and that's how
mm,
I was able to understand. And I really, really admire people that invest their time and money and
mm,
resources in learning
mm,
indigenous languages because, as you were saying, like and you even learned Kichwa, like that's not even the major variant of Quechua, and
mm.
it's just amazing, that you would like to learn this type of language. How would you say your experience has been? Because you later on also learned
Yeah,
Maya. What would you say
yeah,
is different when you learn an indigenous language? Do you feel
yeah.
that it's you kind of get more of feedback, or do you feel that you, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe contribute
yeah,
somehow?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that part because I was only focusing on the nerdy parts. Now, let's be more humane as a humanist. So yeah, so the language part was fun, but what was even more interesting is making friends in Napo in the Kichwa speaking world. I don't know. I just felt very happy being there, and because you cannot lie to yourself, right? If you don't like to be in a place, then you want to run away. But when I was there, not just because of the language, I like the people and the way I interact with everybody in the community. So all these Kichwa friends still living in the jungle, I still talk to them on Facebook. So maybe I'm someone who really likes the natural communication, like without too much artificial or fabricated ideas. Because with Kichwa, everything is very straightforward. Of course, you have euphemism and everything, but it's not like in so-called civilized world. Everything has a connotation and different meaning. I remember when I was reading the Bible. I'm not really a Christian or anything. Just I'm fine with anything. So I think in any modern in any version of Bible written in modern languages, I think people would not use "Oh, Jesus just died" something like that, like very blunt
Mm-hmm.
language. But in the Kichwa version, this particular Napo Kichwa Bible, and you have all these very basic words for everything Jesus did or people believe he did. Yeah, that's type of the communication I really enjoyed. Very straightforward and
Terry, would you, because you obviously mentioned that there were no materials, and
yeah.
I know that you also created your own immersion programs, and
Uh-huh.
you are the creator and the founder of the Polyglot Immersion website. Was that the first time, maybe, that initiated you to think about this type of program? And can you tell us more about the program and that connection of how
Yeah,
that was
so
created?
I noticed because I went there without any understanding of Kichwa, right? Usually people would say, "Oh, you need to have a certain level to go into the country," but my experience was different, right? So I realized the key is not about how much you know or how good you are or how many basic phrases you have memorized. It's more about how you interact with the community. If they are willing to accept you as you are as a beginner, even if you don't speak a word, that's fine because then you can live with them and do everything with them, play sports, go into the chagra, the garden, do farming and everything. So it's about building relationship. So immersion is not about learning language. Actually, ironically or paradoxically, it's about building relation. You first build relation, then you can do immersion. But it doesn't actually work the other way around. If you want to do immersion and then build relation, that's a bit weird. Yeah, it's you have to make friends first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm in Latvia this summer, right? I just have another example of so-called like real immersion. I just went to my friend's countryside house for like about 3 days. Okay. So her mom only spoke Latvian. Normally, her mom wouldn't even want to talk to me because I don't really speak it well, and maybe she is not interested. But since I have this friendship with her daughter, then she accepted me as her family member in her house, and she would talk to me in Latvian, even if I don't understand her sometimes, and she would not insist. Her only option was Latvian. So
So
yeah,
her daughter
so
kind of functioned as a gatekeeper, like she was like, okay, I introduce you to,
Yeah. So it's like in the Amazon, in the
right?
Kichwa community, our professor, Dr. Swanson, was also the gatekeeper, the
Mm-hmm.
mediator. He introduced Terry with zero Kichwa into the community. And everybody just, showed me, they just enjoyed being with me. And for like 2 months. And I
Wow.
realized though, so if you want to create something to help learners learn faster with immersion, and you have to build this relation first. And then you transfer this relation to your clients. That's how my business model actually works. And
Yeah,
it's,
that was my question. How is the
yeah,
platform like? Are you
yeah,
teaching people how to build relationship, or you are the gatekeeper and you're kind of letting them?
yeah, exactly. I function basically like a Dr. Swanson or my
Yeah,
Latvian friend. So these people who are interested in interacting with foreigners or non-native speakers, they can feel safe. And also they know these people are genuinely interested in their languages and cultural. So yeah, basically that's how it works. But actually in terms of business, I had to test it, right? So the first time when I did it in Japan, because my main emerging business is right now in Japan. I was
wow.
kind of very nervous because I didn't know if this is transferable. Like you establish your relations in this city and you
Mm-hmm.
know this many people, but would they be happy to hang out with my clients?
Mm.
Yeah, so the first time was not easy because I thought, oh, it might fail. Maybe eventually everybody would be unhappy, but it worked. Yeah.
But
S-
that's
It's
amazing. I love this type of, what you describe as, you build relationships, you actually build a community. And speaking of which, Polyglot TW, I want to know a little bit more about that. How many are you? And also, which languages are the Taiwanese people interested in learning?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. So we don't really keep track of how many members or followers we have, but our mem group on Facebook has 30 plus 30,000, something 35,000, I don't remember, kind of like online members if you want that number, but we don't know because it's not we don't have a membership system. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to come, you can come. You want to follow us, you can follow us. Yeah. What we do with Polyglot.tw, this has nothing to do with my immersion program. It's just a language meetups in 4 different cities in Taiwan. And we do it every week. And you can come to practice languages. But what we do differently, and also it's necessary to do this in Asia, is that we have language table leaders. So we work with volunteers living in Taiwan. They are native speakers of different languages. So we invite them to come to the event to host language tables, like French table, Japanese table, Mandarin table, German table, Thai language table, Vietnamese, Cantonese. And in Asia, I think the most popular language beside English is Japanese, and
Oh.
that's also true in Taiwan, and especially for Taiwan, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So our Japanese table and our English table, they are always the biggest, and then you
Hmm.
have maybe French, Spanish, Korean. Korean is very popular now in Asia too.
Yeah, I can imagine the K-pop and stuff. Your model reminds me a lot of what people do in the Fluent Tel Aviv or Fluent TLV.
Uh,
When
yeah.
I used to live in Jerusalem for a short while, I
Hmm.
attended some of their events and it was
Yeah.
amazing. And I felt that it was, so professional and structured exactly because the native speakers participate in the language tables. So,
Yeah,
you actually like have some structure and you get to practice. And it's not just, chit chat, let's meet each other,
yeah.
but
But
some real
but
practice.
another reason that we have to do this is that unlike in most big cities in Europe, you can easily have participants from different countries.
Mm.
And then we don't have that luxury in Asia, like in Japan or in Taiwan. You always have to kind of find volunteers to come. Otherwise, it's going to be like not just only English. It's not going to work
Right.
well. So that's why we have to have this structure.
Terry, we started with a very interesting topic and went through some absolutely amazing stories. I am so interested right now in this Polyglot Immersion platform and program that you're doing, because what you're saying is so true. I was trying to wrap my head around immersion because I am a big fan of immersion. This is how I learned Turkish. And when you're talking about relationships, I can definitely confirm that this is not just about going and being in a country and this is your immersion. No, because it is about interaction. It is about how you interact and how that community interacts with you. So I'm just thrilled listening, like a little kid looking at the Christmas gift. It was extremely interesting, and I would love you to tell us more. Yeah, I would love you to tell us more about that Polyglot conference in Taipei. Because, of course,
Okay.
this is the event that's coming up in 3 months. And this is unfortunately something I won't be able to attend. But I would like, as much as you can at this point, since you are a co-hosting person, together with Richard Simcott. And Richard has been pulling out great job dragging us language lovers to different countries. And Irena knows because she has been to probably all of them, right?
Not all of them, but many of them,
Most of them.
We will
exactly.
see about Taiwan.
Yeah. So Terry, as much as you can give us a sneak peek into what attendees can expect in 2025, I don't know, anything, workshops, cultural events, tell us more, please.
Yeah. So first, I would like to thank the community. I don't think, of course, it's Richard created this, but behind Richard, it's the community. And I think the community kind of approved, otherwise, the decision Richard made. So thank you, everybody, for coming to Taiwan, even if we cannot physically make it to Taiwan. Still, it's an honor for us to co-host this event with Richard. Yeah, so as Richard might have already mentioned to you, this year's focus would be on, again, indigenous languages. So Polyglot Conference is actually an approved event by an event approved by the UNESCO's Decade of Indigenous Languages. I think it's called the Decade of in Indigenous Languages. So at every event, I think especially since Cholula in 2022, and Polyglot Conference has to promote local languages or indigenous cultures. And that's what Richard did in Malta and in Hungary, I think. Yeah. And Taiwan actually has a very interesting language group called Austronesian languages. And these have nothing to do with Sinitic languages like Hakka, Taiwanese, or Mandarin. They are actually the ancestors of all the Austronesian languages of the world, including Malay, Indonesian, the language of Rapa Nui, and Malagasy too. So this
So
year,
you're trying
if you
to
come
tell
to
me that my former colleague that I met yesterday from Madagascar, she would understand these languages maybe easier than a Taiwanese regular person.
Yeah, that could be very possible because if two languages are from the same language family, they share the core basic words like eyes, mouths, and all the names for the animals. Yeah, that's probably very true. And a Malagasy speaking person can probably communicate with an indigenous Taiwanese person.
Amazing. And those countries are, miles and miles apart.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't it fascinating? All these ancestors, they traveled from Taiwan to the Easter Islands and also to Madagascar. So anyway, this year, if you come to join us in Taiwan, and you will be able to explore all these languages, we actually prepared a 3-day crash course on one of the indigenous languages in Taiwan. So we will have a 3-day Taiwan course, and you will be able to stay in a real non-tourist indigenous community and like
Wow.
interact with the local people. And because I do immersion, I design immersion, so all these pre-conference language courses will have immersion elements. We also have, of course, Mandarin crash course. I guess that's for most of people.
Japanese? How about Japanese?
But Japanese is not currently an
Sure.
official language in Taiwan, and
Of course.
it's a popular language. But if you come to Taiwan, we will have plenty of opportunities to practice Japanese. I think every Taiwanese polyglot or every kind of language learning Taiwanese speaks some Japanese.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that crazy. We are probably, I usually say this, we have like a linguophilia, right? And Taiwan is the most Japanophilia country of the world.
Wow.
That's such an interesting fact. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our outbounding, like people who travel abroad from Taiwan, nearly 50% choose Japan as the first destination.
Wow.
It's crazy.
This is a great tip for all those who are into Japanese language, and they may not be necessarily traveling to Japan. Maybe at some point, exactly with the opportunity of visiting the Polyglot Conference, they can also bite some of this Japanese language in Taiwan, which for me personally is quite unexpected. I mean, I knew about the history, but I didn't know that the influence of the language is still so big that you can practice Japanese and find some speakers there so easily.
Another interesting fact, I think it's a fact now, because as far as I know, since I've been doing immersion programs in Japan, right? And you can already imagine that I do have some influences in Japan. I think this year, we are going to have more Japanese conferences than in Fukuoka.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so did you guys know that in 2019, Polyglot Conference took place in Fukuoka, Japan?
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
And as far as I remember, there were not more than 20 Japanese participants.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, and I think this year we are going to have more Japanese participants in Taipei than in Fukuoka.
Than in Japan. Wow, that's amazing. But I wanted to ask some practicalities. So how many days do you recommend coming and staying? And do you recommend to come like how many days in advance,
So I would highly recommend the Taiwan language program, like learning an indigenous Taiwan language, which is also Austronesian, the ancestor of all the Austronesian languages. That program would start on November 5th, or 5th of November. So if you want to come to Taiwan and want to try this very interesting language with us, please arrive about a week before the actual conference. The actual conference is on the 10th of November. And guess what? This is a very interesting date. And I want to ask Hsieh if she knows about this interesting fact. Do you know November 10th is a special day in Turkey?
November 10th, special day in Turkey. Very interesting. Now you got me, because I know the 29th of October is the founding of the Republic of Turkey, but the 10th of November? Please surprise me, Terry.
Okay, so you just talk about the founding of the Republic, right? Who founded the Republic?
Atatürk.
Yep.
Atatürk. Okay, Google.
That's his birthday or something?
Yeah. Google about
all right,
Atatürk.
Here we go. Yeah.
The second interesting fact, is that it's my birthday too.
Oh, this is
No way.
incredible.
So
Okay,
the
so you guys
first,
know, learn how to sing happy birthday in all the languages and congratulate
yeah,
Terry on the 10th
yeah,
of November.
yeah. So the first day of this year's conference is November 10th, and that's my birthday. So it is something
Wow.
to do with
Please
Atatürk.
come. Exactly. Celebrate, commemorate Atatürk's memory, celebrate Terry's birthday, and most importantly, yes, meet in person in Taiwan. I mean, frankly, when you are describing what is going to be happening during Polyglot conference, I am extremely upset. I'm not going to be there because I have started learning Japanese this year in January, and it is not going well because I couldn't find any of the immersion element. I couldn't find any gatekeeper. I couldn't kind of disclose for myself any type of area which would suck me in so I can just embrace the Japanese language. But I know at some point it's coming, and this type of conference, for example, would be a great opportunity to boost the language interest and to meet people that speak Japanese. But who knows? It's still 3 months. You never know. Maybe I'll have a surprise visit. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anything else you would like to add about the conference before we wrap up?
Um. Yeah. Also, if you want to stay in Taiwan for a bit longer, we also prepare like excursions and all other like side activities. Yeah, maybe we can also take a trip to Japan together if you want to do more Japanese.
Yes, that
Because
would be perfect.
yeah. It's very close. It's 2 hours from Taipei to
That's nothing.
Fukuoka, and 1 hour to Okinawa. Yeah, we can even do that. And usually,
I
I
even
have
have a friend in Okinawa, so that would
yeah,
be
There you go. There
surprising.
you go.
Oh,
yeah,
Terry, if you're ever in Okinawa, there is
yeah.
a Polish bakery in
Uh
one of
huh.
the little villages there called Tulipan,
Okay,
which is a tulip flower.
okay.
So feel
Uh
free
huh.
to come and say hi from Belly
Oh, really?
Show, and I'm
Okay.
sure
So I go
you're gonna get
inside
some
and
nice.
then tell
Oh
them the
yeah,
Tosue Hutch, and then they will answer me
I'm sure
in
you're gonna get
Polish.
some very nice Polish bread or bakery. So
Okay.
Wow. Japanese Polish,
Terry,
that's such a cultural
Yeah.
mishmash. I love it.
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a lovely lady as well. Anyway, Terry, this was a incredible journey, and I actually feel like we can keep going and talking about your intense and very broad experience in languages, and it started so interestingly, as you mentioned, from a completely sort of a monolingual life, and slowly increased into such interest and such a great activity. We usually wrap up with quite simple bonus questions just to kind of summarize the whole thing, but please don't take them seriously. We just want the quick answers on those.
Okay.
So we're gonna have three short questions. Don't bother explaining so much behind them. They're just to wrap up. So
Yeah.
if you can name, if it's possible, I know it's difficult, favorite country for food, people, and language. I know it's tricky.
Oh, okay. Food, Japan.
Nice.
Makes sense.
People, Mexico.
Nice.
I
And the
agree.
third one was
The third one
Language.
was language. The most difficult, probably.
okay. For me, it's actually very simple Japanese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the second question is, what are the three things you always pack when traveling? And you travel a lot.
Oh, my iPad. I actually have two iPads and
Nice.
headphones and Crocs. The sandals, the Crocs
Yep.
sandals, because I don't wear shoes.
The healthiest way, I guess.
Okay, three things. That's it.
Yeah. And three things, and we had the third question, which is the last one, most difficult in my opinion. If you had to live in one country for the rest of your life, where would that be?
I cannot change. I will be like rooted in that country. Okay, Japan.
Yeah, that's it.
Japan.
You cannot
Japan.
change. That's it. Just for the rest of your life. One.
Japan.
Japan.
Japan,
Okay.
yeah.
I see some Japan connection in here.
Yeah.
Between
I
us
cannot
and you.
lie about it. Yeah.
Nice.
Terry, are there any other last words for the listeners, for the audience that you would like to add before we wrap up?
Since I'm in Latvia right now, doing my own Latvian immersion, so I will promote Latvian a bit. Oh, it's a lovely country. You might not get immersion here, but still, come here. I love Latvia.
That's
very
nice.
nice. Thank you very much, Terry, for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure to have you and to hear what you have to say. And hopefully, Polyglot Conference, people will be able to actually meet you face to face. I guess this is going to be a great encounter. Good luck with the organization, with the event
thank
itself, and with your immersion program, of course, and all the programs and projects that you are into. I hope our path cross again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for participating, Terry. It was a real pleasure to chat with you. Hsieh.
谢谢。
谢谢，拜拜。
Bye bye. Ciao. Gurus.
Bye bye.
Bye, listeners. Thank you very much. Ciao.